Welcome to Us Podcast, a space for real unfiltered conversation around fatherhood, the good, the bad, the pain, and the healing around the topic. In the studio today, we will have a discussion of how fatherhood have impacted our lives, the hurt of being absent, the strength of being present, the journey in breaking cycles and building legacies. In the studio today, we have two phenomenal guests that can bring both spiritual insight and personal experience around the topic. So let's join in and welcoming our guests. We have Omar Rensola Summers, the voice. She's an author, and Tellus Williams. So now, get ready, settle in, let's grow together. This is your host, Coach Pamela Watkins. Listen. I am so excited to have no other than my best friend, my sister, an author, Omar Rensola Summers, the voice, in the studio, y'all. So you know what? I am so blessed. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Okay, the audience can't tell me none. The viewers can't tell me none. I am so honored, sis, that you took the time out to come and speak on a topic that you wrote a book about. Let me show them the book. Y'all see this book? I'm gonna have it available too. I just want y'all to see. This is something you want to add to your library. Then I have no other than my brother. I have Mr. Tellus Williams, who can speak from a man's perspective on a topic that we're going to be talking about, which is fatherhood unfiltered, the son's voice. Y'all both bring to the table a spiritual perspective and a personal experience. And I just want to dive in because, y'all, it's good. I had a lot of people emailing me because that's what I do. Okay. I try to they email me questions. I write them out. I try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. And you know what I've learned about fatherhood this month and watching various fathers is that we have people that are hurting out there. And their voices are not being heard. They're moving in silos. I have young kids that's angry. I have grown fathers who have dealt with the absence of a father, and so they don't even know how to be a father. And so I just want to dive into all of that and have good dialogue. And I don't want to do all the talking because I need them to hear y'all because we've been talking already.
Yes.
Before we done hit live, right? And I thought the church was gonna come up in here because we got to talking, y'all. And so let me dive in and we're gonna go back and forth, and we just gonna just let it flow. Because I think that you guys are going to bring something very important to the table that the world needs to hear. Okay? So I want to talk about the impact of a father first.
Yes.
I think that is very important. I can relate to some things that was sent in the email. And so, but it's going to be great to hear from a different perspective. And I want to start with you,
Okay.
Miss Summers, because you had your father in the home. So one of the questions is, what did fatherhood look like in the home?
Yep. So I was young when my father was in the home. Him and my mom were married. Yep. My father's Nigerian. And so, unfortunately, they ended up getting divorced. But we had joint custody. So I would be with my mom full time and then be with my dad on the weekends. And I just remember how involved my dad was in our life. He would come to the school programs, he would make sure we had our school clothes, everything like that. And it was so interesting today that we're talking about fatherhood because you know how you got to do those security questions when you establish a new account. And they said, who was your superhero growing up? And I said, Vincent Awoshika. Because that's my daddy, And even now as an adult, we've gained a closer bond because I had his first grandbaby. And I got 4 kids, and so he just cherishes the time that he's able to be with them. And then I just see the model that he had with me and my sister. Now he's implementing it with the grandbabies, and he lives out in Houston, so we had went out there to see him. But I just love that man with all my heart.
You better come on and talk about it. So, how did it shape your self-worth?
So if you know anything about Nigerians, they strict.
Okay.
So my dad said, "You're not getting married until you graduate from college." Wow. So I didn't get married till I graduated from college. Wow. He said, "You not having no children out of wedlock." Okay. I didn't have any children out of wedlock. Wow. I had to go to college. He wanted me to go into the medical field, and I said no. And I went into political science, and I don't even use that degree. I didn't listen on that one because I said, I'm free now. You know what I mean? And so when I was in college, I'm outside. Like I'm outside now.
Yeah, outside.
And so I'm going to college parties. I'm in Miami. I'm in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling people on Facebook where I am. And my dad said, "You are living too dangerous." He said, "You don't think that when you leave, people going to try to break into your house and break into your car?" And I said, "Daddy, you too serious." But he was talking from a male perspective. Yes. Of that protection, because he's a protector. He's a provider. You know what I mean? And so it just shaped my standards. Like, I'm like, listen, if you ain't got this, and the other, you could take me to the movies, but other than that, I can't marry you because I can't even bring you home to my dad. You know what I mean? Because I was scared. I had the fear, and I know the Bible says that the fear of the Lord. It didn't say the fear of your daddy, but the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Yes. But what Vincent Owoshika implemented was wisdom. And I believe a lot of it came from him not having his father in the household. So in Nigeria, it was a polygamous society. Okay. And if you know anything about polygamy, you can have multiple wives.
That's right.
Yes.
And so his dad had huts. So he would go to each hut, whatever night he chose, and they would cook whatever he wanted. And then he would, interact with them, the wives and the children, provide for them, and then he would go to the next hut. Wow. And so my grandmother had 8 kids with him. 2 of them passed away, unfortunately. But that's what my dad remembers about his dad.
Look at that. Wow.
So he wanted to be the best dad he could be.
Yes. Come on. Mr. Williams, I have one question for you. That based on the fact that we spoke, and I love that, because, honey, I wish I had that, right? I love to hear those stories, and when I hear those stories, I'll be like, oh, that's a nice fairy tale, but that's not my story, because that's what I wanted growing up. But I think I can relate to you, and I want to ask you a question about the pain of an absent father. One of the questions was, how does the father's absence affect a man or a boy emotionally?
Oh, wow. Well, coming up in a home with just my 6 brothers and my mother, we was fatherless. So it was pretty much my mother and my 6 brothers. So as far as a father figure, there was no father in the home. So as far as a little boy, you ask your mother questions about where's your father at. Right. Every child is going to ask their mother about their father, especially when the father is not present. Yeah. And just over the years, just the absence of the father's not there, you just seem to care anymore as far as the father not being there because he's not there. And so as a little boy, you want that father to be there. And what happened is a little boy, he established anger and mixed emotions. And what's going on is that he's telling himself as a little boy that he don't need a dad. Okay. Because his dad is not there and he doesn't have that experience of what it's like to have a father. Right. And so a little boy is telling himself, hey, I don't need a dad because dad is not home. and so he's pretty much established in anger.
Yeah.
And so he's walking around telling himself everything is okay, nothing's wrong. Oh, I don't have a father. Oh, well, okay. But what's the little boy is failing to understand is that he failed to realize emotional intelligence because he didn't have their father in the home to teach him that.
Yeah.
And so even though he's expressing himself the best way that he know how to do, those mixed emotions that a little boy has, sometimes, it can reflect on the mother.
Yeah.
Sometimes the little boy can take his anger out on the mother.
Oh yeah.
Because he may begin to think that the reason why his father is not around is because his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up in a home without a father, I can just pretty much say that it was empty.
Yeah.
You can tell yourself that everything is okay and you don't need a father, but deep down inside, that pain, that hurt, that the lack of not having nobody to talk to, a little boy. I feel every child needs their father, whether you are a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
But as far as boys, boys need a father presence to teach them how to be a man. I mean, I'm not saying that a woman can't raise a boy,
Right.
but at the same time, when God made male and female,
Absolutely.
and
Come on
he
with it.
placed man and woman in the household,
Yes.
so that way that the household can have that balance,
Exactly.
so that the mother can be there to discipline the daughter and the father can be there to discipline the child. The son. So what happened is over the years, somewhere down the line, I would say that the parents made a mistake somewhere. I would say that, and I would put myself in there because I'm a parent too. I would say that somewhere down the line, we failed our children, because, a lot of us had children out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us had children at young ages.
Yes.
A lot of us had children while we was children.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of us really didn't have the experience of how to raise a child.
Right.
We was children ourselves.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
And so when you have one parent and you don't have the other parent, there is an emptiness that child is missing, whether you are a girl or a boy.
Right.
A lot of girls, they love their fathers.
Yeah.
I myself have a daughter now.
Mm-hmm.
And so by me having a daughter now, that makes, she pretty much is making me look at life a lot different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was younger and when I had my sons. And so I would say that not having a father in the home can cause you to make poor decisions long term.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have that father and then you become a father, those, how can I say this? I don't want to say generational curses, because it starts, I believe that it starts within ourselves, from a personal perspective. Every man that has a child, I feel that if you have a child that's out there, you should be involved in that child's life, because that child needs you more than you know.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, a lot of men don't be involved in their children's lives. It could be because the relationship with the mother.
That's what I was just
You
gonna
know,
say.
the mother and the father can have
Don't see eye to
bad
eye.
relationship. They don't see eye to eye on a lot of issues.
A lot of issues.
And what happened is that man, even though it's not an excuse, it's a poor excuse, he would neglect his child
Right.
because him and the mother is not seeing eye to eye.
Yes.
Right.
And so what happened is that we as men, we need to step up to the plate and be better role models. We need to be better
Good.
father figures. We need to be active in our children's lives, because whether we know it or not, our father presence in the home means just as much as presence in the home as a mother.
Absolutely.
Come on here.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. And I can relate to you saying that. I'm a woman, and I didn't have my father either. I knew who he was. My mama divorced him when I was young, and when we relocated, he disconnected. I would go back home to Arkansas during the summer and spend time with my grandparents where he's from. And not one time for years would he stop by to say, hey, girl, how you doing? Any of those things. And when I decided at 16 not to go back home during the summer months, because like you said, I became a teenage mom, that was it. He doesn't even know my children who's in their 30s or my grandchildren. In his latter years right now, he's deciding to have a relationship with me. But I'm like you, or like you said, I have coped without the fact that, and accepted the fact that you wasn't there. So it's kind of hard for me to really put you in on a certain pedestal or look at you in a certain perspective, because you haven't been there. You missed 30-something years, 40-something years of my life where my mom was always there. Right? So I know the Bible said, honor thy mother and thy father, and I understand that there's no book about parenting, how to be a good parent, right parent, and all those things. But like you said, if you were only just had a communication with me where I could come to you and say, Dad, how do I date? How do I be, what's the good and the bad in regards to recognizing a healthy relationship or not? I didn't have none of that. So growing up, and when I became a teenager, I thought sleeping around was love. I thought if a man, I went through some stuff. I mean, this ain't the platform where I could share all that, but I did not have anybody to go to teach me how to identify a healthy relationship when it comes to a man. My mama can teach me from a woman's perspective. But then where is that man figure? So you're right. The absence of a man is vital, because nowadays, this generation right now is suffering
Yes,
and
it is.
angry, like you
Yes,
said.
they
Their daddy is in next door in another zip code and won't even come and see them. Like you said, because the mama doesn't say bad things about the daddy. There's no communication. There's no mediation. There's no plan where, hey, let my mom be the third person to get my kids. There's a lot of ways where you can kind of go around the disagreement and disconnect and still be involved.
Yeah.
I have young people who are in the streets. They daddy in the streets too.
Yeah.
And they cross paths like they don't even know each other. That's deep. But then when that kid gets older and you want to play daddy, here's all this aggression, altercation, and things of that nature. And like you said, society has to do better and take a stand. It can't always be on the shoulder of a woman.
And I wanted to say too that you don't have to birth a child to be their father.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right.
So now,
Absolutely.
our Pastor Marlon Locker, Unity Gospel House of Prayer, he is the spiritual father to so many youth at our church. We've had youth that have lost their dads to gun violence.
Yeah.
We have youth that have lost their dad to accidents. We have youth that have just dads that don't want to communicate because of the relationship with the mothers. And so on Father's Day, I didn't get to make it in the building, but I watched online. And I remember he said something so deep. He said, because he teaches a youth class right before church.
Okay.
So they have Sunday Fun Day is what they call it.
Okay.
But then he does the teens because he saw how much hurt, how much pain, how much misdirection that the people that he's over is going through, or that he pastors. And so he said, I want y'all all to call y'all father today and say Happy Father's Day.
Wow.
And he said, if your mama tell you that you can't do it, then tell her to call me. Because he wants that healing to take place.
Yes.
And I actually interviewed him because he grew up without a father.
Oh,
His father overdosed on drugs.
Okay.
And he shared this, through sermon after sermon.
Yes.
So his granddad
I remember
raised him,
his
Apostle
granddad.
Locke. And so it's so interesting that even if you didn't have your daddy there, God will bring somebody. Come on here. Because that's how my husband, Cameron Summers, is. Them boys love him. He take them to go play basketball at the YMCA. I wake up, he gone. He done picked them up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
He's
and,
serious.
And then mamas was like, stop calling old husband. And asking him, because that's when I was really going through in my body.
Yeah.
And stop asking him to pick y'all up. It's like, but these were fresh and new losses.
Come on.
And I'm like, listen, I ain't gonna pick him up, but you can.
No, that's right.
And at that time our sons were so little that they couldn't go play basketball. But now that they're older, he take them to the gym
Come on,
with
Mr.
them
Summers.
and just shows that implementation
Yes.
of, man, I didn't have my dad because his dad served 16 years in prison. And it was for like drug abuse, violence, all this kind of stuff. And so he ended up, thank you, Jesus, birthing in jail. Come on here, behind bars, House of Vision. So y'all may know House of Vision in Milwaukee. It was off of 26 and Capitol.
Yes.
Minister Larry Anthony.
I seen that on the building.
That's his dad, but his dad unfortunately passed away.
Okay.
And so he would go and get those in the streets with alcohol and drug abuse and rehabilitate them into society. And then he asked Cameron to come and work with him. And so then Cameron was living there, being a housing manager, but that's what it's all about.
That's what it's about. How, like you said, mentors plays a very important part in kids' life. Like you said, when a kid have somebody they can go to,
Come on.
anything is possible. Change can happen. Healing can happen.
Come on.
Break-in cycles can happen. Right? Building legacies can happen.
You better come on here.
Girl, I was just trying to tell you. I love when I see it. And that kind of brings us to the next point that I want to talk about.
Okay.
And it's the power of the presence. Now, we done already talk about the absence and how that affects us and what's the coping mechanism around that. But what happens when you, like going back to you and your daughter, going back to you and your father, the power of presence, your children having their father in the home. How powerful is that? So my question is, what does being present truly mean? Because you can see it as a wife. I see it when you bring your daughter to church and we go over there and mess with her and she go all over like this and she all up on you and things like that. Just seeing how meaningful it is. Now, you watching how your children interact with your husband and their father. What do that truly means? How is that impacting the
So
babies?
let me show you
Come
this.
on, honey,
So
because you'll go to that book, honey.
Yeah, because, it was so interesting when the Lord told me to write The Voice of the Childless Home. And I said, I can't relate because I've had, like I said, I have my uncles, because my grandmother has five sons and one daughter. Okay. And so, I could relate. And so I remember, how the children would run to the door and they hang on my husband's neck. And I said, that's the most beautiful necklace I've ever seen. Because, it was just like you could not replace something like that, but it was the power of the presence.
Yeah.
Because I'll be at home, I'm like, yo, I ain't run and jump and say nothing to me.
Right, you mama, you carried him.
Yeah, but he the fun one.
Okay.
I'm you better get your butt up and get it's ready
Get
for
some
summer
order,
school,
huh?
yes. And so I remember I said, well, since I can't relate, I said, Lord, what do you want me to do? He said, make a post on Facebook, because everybody share their heart on there anyway.
Yeah.
And he said, ask people how their relationship is with their father. And over probably 95% of the comments were negative. I hate him. He was never there. I don't know who he is. And that just hurt me to my core because my father's my Superman. And the fact that so many people was hurting. And then it's so interesting because all of my friends called my dad Dad.
Wow.
And they got dads in their life, you know what I mean? Yeah. But my dads show up, you know what I mean? Not saying that their dads don't, but the power of the presence. He shows up at their birthday parties, my friends. He shows up at their graduation parties. He gives them money because that's just how they are in the Nigerian community.
Okay.
Family is one of the most powerful things. Now, we far from perfect.
Yeah. Come on, talk about it.
Far from perfect.
Talk about it. Because people put you on a pedestal.
Listen.
They be forgetting.
Every family has their strongholds and, different things like that. But the thing that I love about the Nigerian community and other cultures is they implement healing. I ain't going to be bitter at you for all of them years.
Come on, sis.
Because I have bitterness towards things that happen in my family, right? Things that happen within my union, my covenant. Yeah. And it showed up in my body. So the stress, the anger, the unforgiveness. And God had to sit me still. And he said, Ola, nobody is perfect. He said, how many times have I forgiven you?
Girl, don't do that.
And so I'm sitting there in the room, the hospital room by myself. In the power of the Holy Spirit, the presence of the true and living God came in there. He delivered me. Because he said, Ola, if you don't forgive.
Come on, sis.
He said, you're going to continue to suffer in your body.
That's a message right
And
there.
I said, Lord, I don't know how to forgive.
Yes, yes.
And he said, let me teach you.
That's powerful. And you know what? Now that you done went there, I'm going to say this, y'all. A lot of people are dealing with sickness because of unforgiveness, and they don't understand your healing. And you always used to tell this to me, too. I used to get mad at you, too. Forgive. You got to forgive. You have to forgive, you all. And that's your healing right there.
Yes, it is.
And people got to understand in the Bible, their healing is when if Jesus said, you be healed, I forgive you, sin no more. And the woman with the issue of blood, she was healed.
You was healed.
The lame man that was sitting by, he gave him a directive. He moved by faith. He was healed. And I do know when I deal with, I used to work in healthcare in the hospital, and I dealt with patients who were dealing with cancer and things like that. And their faith wasn't as strong, but mine was.
Come on.
And I would tell them, how much do you believe in God? Because, see, my faith is strong enough to heal me, but your faith got to be strong enough to heal you. And you will be healed. I have seen people healed. I have seen people come from death state.
You better come on here.
Because they end up saying, Lord, I believe in you, heal me. And that's when you got that, without a doubt, I believe you can do it. Right?
It's that crazy faith.
That's that, I
Come
like
on.
that. It's that crazy stuff. And so I know y'all thinking, okay, they in there having church. No, look here. You can't do, you can't do this thing called fatherhood, motherhood, or anything, or healing, or breaking cycles, or anything without God's help. Let's just start there. Let's just start there. And just to know that the power, there's power in presence of a father, and like you said, it helps, right? And so us not having your father made you become the best father you could be. Yes. It doesn't, see, kids used to try to tell us how we should be parents.
Yes.
Well, a mother should and a father should do this. No, what a mother should is what God told me I need to do. He gave me an assignment of how to be a mother to you. He didn't tell you to tell me how to be a mom. And my kids, y'all watching, they used to say that all the time. This is what a mama should do. No, what a mother should do is what God told me to do, and I'm going to do that. Right? And so that is strong. I have another one, too. How can fathers reconnect after years of being distant? That's deep.
Wow.
That's deep. And you talked about this, because you kind of came for me on the phone talking about, have you really forgave? And I think I did. I just feel my love level is different. But he reached out and connected later in my life, and I just been a person that's just like, hey, how you doing? It's very copacetic, if y'all know what I mean. It's not like, I'm not intentionally mean or anything like that, but it's just, and I don't want to say I'm just tolerating him, because you asked me that, are you tolerating him? Wow. And I'm like, I don't think I'm just tolerating him. I just think that I love you, but it's different.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Because
Yes.
I know the Bible says I have to love you, right?
Yes.
But it's just still different compared to my mother. My mother is so unconditional. You come for that lady,
Love your mom.
baby. You hear me? I promise you're going to see a different Pam Watkins, okay? My father, I'd be like, hey. But my thing of it is, how can we encourage somebody that when a father reconnects after years of being distant, what could be some tools they can put in their tool belt to restore that relationship?
Well, I would say, speaking for myself, I would say that a father should start by forgiving themselves first. I believe that the reason why a lot of fathers are not present, it's not that they don't want to be present. I believe that a lot of time has passed,
Right.
and fathers, they feel, some fathers, I can't say all fathers, but
Right.
some fathers have the mindset that, okay, I have not been around, so what's the purpose of me coming around for now?
Right.
I haven't been around all this time.
All this time.
And so that father, he knows that child has mixed emotions about him.
Right.
And so to keep from confronting those problems, to keep from dealing with those problems, what that father would do, he would not come around. And he's thinking that is a solution, but it's actually
Right.
a part of the problem.
part of
So
the
he's making the problem worse. So I would say that a father should start by forgiving themselves first.
Yeah.
Because me not having a father in my life, in my household, I made a promise to myself
Come on.
Yeah.
that my children would know who their father is.
That's it.
Now, I would say this. I've made some mistakes.
Yeah.
I believe that we all have
All
made
have.
mistakes.
Come on.
All mothers and fathers have
yeah.
made mistakes. I made mistakes. But the promise that I made to myself is that I would be there for my children. My children would know their father. It's because I didn't want my children to come up, I'm going to say come up, but the experience feeling neglected
Right.
or just feeling like you have nobody to talk to. And from a boy's perspective, there are questions that you have to have a father presence to ask. Not
Yeah.
saying that the mother can't answer those questions,
Right.
but sometimes boys feel comfortable with talking to the male
Absolutely.
concerning certain things, but not to steer away from what I was talking about. I made a promise that my children would know their father, and I kept that promise. Now, I would say that not having a father in the home, not having someone to teach me how to be a father, how to be a man, I made mistakes because I didn't have that father to teach
Absolutely.
me what to do and what not to do.
Right.
And so I recall having a conversation with my oldest son. We have a lot of mishaps at times, and our relationships over the years have not been the best, but it's improving.
Right.
And my son had told me that he said that he need me just as much as my other brothers and sisters. Well, his other brothers and sisters need him. And so the thing is, my oldest son, I'm hard on all my children, and I have sons, so I'm hard on my sons. And my oldest son, I'm hard on him.
Right.
And so when he mentioned to me that he need me just as much as his other brothers and sisters need him, that made me start to see things from a different perspective. Maybe I'm being too hard on him, and maybe the fact that I didn't have a father in my life, and I'm having mixed emotions with my son.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that we have to ask ourselves. We have to self-reflect, because sometimes the things that we dealt with as children or as a child, those issues, we tend to bring those issues in our adult years.
Oh, yeah.
And then we carry those issues in our adult years, not healing from those issues, because the reason why we couldn't heal is because we was too young to understand the emotions that we was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have emotions that you don't understand, that cause mixed emotions.
That's right. That's right.
And so you act out in ways that you probably normally wouldn't be acting out. Yeah. Because you don't understand those emotions. And wow.
That's powerful.
Man, it's just sitting back thinking about the presence of a father and the absence of a father. It's starting to make me relive some of my childhood issues that I was dealing with. So,
this is powerful.
And I'm just gonna speak to what you said, brother. Woman Thou Art Loose. That's TD Jakes' mega conference. I had never been before, but I follow his daughter Sarah Jakes. And during COVID, they ended up canceling it because they didn't want all of those people in that big space. So in 2022, they ended up having it, and then your ticket could roll over. And so I had just had my youngest son, Nasir, and he was a baby. And I asked my husband, I said, listen, I need to get outside. And I said, would you watch the kids and hold them down? Because, at that point, that was our fourth child. I said, that's going to be my birthday present to myself, because it was around my birthday. And so I went, and that's when he did the transfer to Sarah. And she didn't know. He called her up to the stage.
I remember that.
And he put the jacket, the coat of many colors on his daughter. And he said, always remember that even when I'm absent, I'm still present. And he said, I'm covering you. And he said, when I'm not here, God is.
Yep.
And she just wept because, she was the one that had the child at 13.
Sure did.
She was the one who
The
people
church,
talked about, the church hurt. And she was the one that got divorced, in front of the public eye. And I remember when he says, Rita Jakes, that when she found out her daughter was pregnant, and I think it was something close to like rape or manipulation or something like that, he said she stayed in the bathroom for hours just crying.
Wow.
And he said, but all things
Work
together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. And so even though it did not feel good, even though she had to go through depression and jealousy and backbiting and people that you love.
People that you love, honey. That's supposed to have your back. That kisses you like Judas did Jesus. It's a lot of Judas in our lives.
yes, it is.
They'll sit there and tell you they have your back. They'll sit there and say they're your friend. And as soon as you have a mishap, they want to talk about you like a dog. And you know what God showed me when we were talking? Is that they was never assigned to you in the first place. And he also let me know, too, that you have to divorce yourself from them people, because he's definitely going to send you a whole drum of people that really love you. You hear me? I love you. Because, see, we ain't supposed to be sitting there the Bible said you don't rejoice in somebody's calamity. You're supposed to lift them up and pray. So you know what? That's why I say you be encouraged, because you have empowered the community so much in every space. I done attend your workshops, baby. The release, honey. You keep on being encouraged and writing like God told, because this book is powerful. You continue to process and know that in due season, everything gonna work out for your good, because I know your story. We done talked about the impact of a father, the absence of a father, the power of the father. Now we want to talk about the healing and breaking cycles. Because what I've learned is, now that you said, we talked about how can a father show up, and you said it very well, forgiving himself. Now how can a child begin to heal? Because like you said before, there is anger. But how can a child learn to forgive when that father knock on that door and say, hey, can you forgive me? I want to start over. How can we encourage that child to say, give that man a chance? Don't keep holding on what he could have, should have done. Let's start all over again, and let's do it right. And I want to say this to the mothers. If you are not going to help the situation, don't hurt it, because that's a problem. I was always taught, don't you bash your kid's father in front of your children.
Yeah, I was taught the same
Because in due
thing.
season, they will find out about their father. And I'm like, I live by that even to the day, and my kids are grown. I'm not doing all of that. I don't have the energy and the time, first of all. Okay? I don't have time. So we know what forgiveness looks like. And you know what? It may take some counseling. It may take some support groups, because everybody don't have the tools. They may have the tools to know how to jumpstart that. Right? I didn't know what it took to forgive either. I ended up going to a workshop and ended up reading some books on forgiveness, even reading scriptures on forgiveness, and learning how to forgive. Right? And so I'm glad I did that. Because now I don't even judge him based on what he didn't do.
Come on. That's it.
When he called me, I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you feeling? What's your health like? I'm on my way down south to see the family. I'm gonna come and get you. What you want me to buy you? What you want me to bring? What size you wear? And all of these things. See, not because of forgiveness.
Because you loving them with the love of
I'm
Christ.
loving with the love of Christ and not with my flesh. Because I don't know how to love him in the flesh.
Come on.
Right? And so I'm learning. So now, how can fathers stop the generational cycle? Let's talk about it.
So I would say, so the Lord hadn't, listen, the Holy Spirit, my best friend, he gives me so many things, but he said, Ola, you can't do it on your own. So even this, I'm excited for this divine connection.
Come on.
So he told me to create a healing hub. So the healing hub will be a resource with people like us, counselors and different things, because I got two sons, two daughters. But like you said, I can't teach them how to be a man. Right. And when my husband be out of the house, when he be outside, them boys turn up on me.
Do they?
Oh, yeah, they turn. Listen, we just went to Houston recently, and, my dad was down there. But, they didn't have such a strong relationship with my dad when he was here, because my dad is an entrepreneur, so he was out and about, and he liked to be outside, too. And so they jumping on the couches. They jumping on the bed. He said, I'm not going to whoop you now, but if you keep messing with my daughter, And so then I said, Daddy, take the belt off. And so then they're like, we sorry, Granddad. And so it's just that implementation of I love you. But like the Bible said, listen, this scripture came
Give it
up.
to us.
It said, Proverbs 13:24. And it says, whoever spares the rod hates their children. But the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them.
Come on. Chastise them.
So he didn't whoop them.
He spared the rod then, huh?
He spared the rod.
He didn't whoop them.
But he did discipline them in the way where he said, go stand in the corner, and all of that kind of stuff. And I felt so bad, but I was like, they need that. Because he said, with all that your mom is going through in her body, he said, with everything that she's done for y'all on the trip, He said, y'all want to treat her like that? He said, that's not cool. And I'm not going to stand for it. He said, because that's my daughter. And I love her with all my heart. And he said, and you're going to feel the same way, God forbid something happen. Yeah. So creating those healing hubs, having people come in from different cultural perspectives to talk about, hey, you know, we didn't have a choice that my father went from hut to hut to hut. You know what I'm saying? Because in America, I think we have gotten so relaxed with the fact that, oh, I don't need no daddy. You know what I'm saying? And then you do need a daddy or a male mentor. Because I see you turning up out here in the street.
Yes.
And then you're implementing that into these young ladies' lives. And then they accept it and they're dealing with the different things, you know, that comes with generational cycles. And I'm tired of it. And I ain't going to just sit back and pray about it anymore. Because faith without works is being dead, being there alone. And so I know I can't do it all. But the Healing Hub will be an international ministry where we going to have retreats for these young boys. Because my sister said, she's a minister too. She said, they got so many things for women. She said, I'm tired of seeing stuff for women. And that's why in 2024, I did the release for men and women. But it was age 18 and up.
Okay.
So where we at, youth? Where we at, Milwaukee?
Where we at, Milwaukee. And that was powerful that you said that. Breaking cycles. That means it got to stop somewhere.
Yes, it got to stop.
So who is it going to stop with? You know what I mean? Like any other generational cycle, it has to stop somewhere. And we have to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Not the problem.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
And so I'm glad that we're speaking to this because, like you said, this young generation has normalized not having fathers. And they're so disrespectful now.
Yes.
And I don't even know if they know how to receive mentors and things like that because, like you said, I ain't had it all this time. I don't need it. I done heard it. I don't need it now. Baby, like you said, you always going to need somebody to teach you some things that a mother can't. Let's keep it real. I used to go on a basketball court. I was a sports person. I went and taught my son, we're going to play basketball. I'm going to teach you how to shoot. Well, I know how to do that.
Yes.
Well, we're going to go you going to do track. I know how to run. I ran track. I tried to do as much as I could. But there was still, to this day, my son is 38.
Wow.
Grew up without a father. The father said he'd rather pay me child support and not have a relationship because he was worried about his scholarship. That scholarship was short-lived. And my son grew up to be a phenomenal young man, but however, he's still dealing with the absence.
The absence of his father.
Yep. Well, how would I have turned out if I had a father? And I think he turned out well, but there are certain things he still feel he could be better in his life if he had a father. How can I? He said, Mama, I know you try to fill in the blanks, but you know what? I see my younger siblings got their father. I don't have mine. You know, those conversations, you don't even know how to even answer.
Yes.
You don't know what to say as a woman besides, I did my best. And he was like, your best, you did do your best. But sometimes you think my best wasn't even good enough. But that's, like you said, there's something I could not provide that he needed. That he needed. And that's what other people are dealing with as well.
Yes, it is.
And so I encourage every listener, every person that is watching, that can relate, it don't matter what your age is, that can relate to this episode, to sit down and reflect. And see what you can do to make a change, right? If you don't have any children, but you see your nephews wilding out because they don't have one, step in and help your siblings with their children. I agree
with that. I agree.
My uncles were the best of the best for me because I didn't have my father. So I have two uncles that's phenomenal. All the women in the family pulled on these two men. Right? And they were phenomenal. I mean, they were just everything to me. Right? And to this day, I have mad respect for those two men. Right? And so They knew what to do. They knew my mother was a single mom raising 3 girls.
Okay.
She didn't have to ask them. They just knew to step in and did what they had to do. Kept me rooted in church, right? We feared them with reverence. You know, sometimes you say, I fear my uncle. It wasn't fear that we fear we're going to get beat and all that. It wasn't none of that. Yeah. We fear out of reverence like we do God. I fear God, but it's out of reverence, respect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I fear my uncle. So I didn't want to do nothing to displease them or anything. And when I got grown, I did things in the street because I didn't want nobody to see it. My mama, nobody to see what I was doing.
Yes.
I called myself sneaky. I didn't want nobody to see that. I was all about image. I was about image because, like you said, when that church gets started on you for the flaws that you do, baby, that's another different hurt, right? Because the church I'm a teenage mom. I had to stand up in front of a church and apologize that I got pregnant as a teenager. You know, they almost destroyed me.
Jesus.
I already was dealing with it mentally.
Yes.
Suicidal. Because I brought shame on my family. Right? And so I'm here to let you know I had to teach my children as a woman how to carry themselves, how to value themselves. You don't let no man do this and that. You don't tolerate this and that. And when you get grown, you're going to do what you want to do. But growing up, there's a standard.
Yes.
We have to teach our generation and our kids a standard.
Come on.
Yes,
and I'm like, you said you was rough on your boys. I treated my girls and my boy the same way. You know, they're like, those are girls. You should treat them a little gentle. No, they'll tell you right now. No, my mom didn't treat me gentle. I did not. I thought I fair. Across the board. The same standard and expectation I had for my sons, I had for my girls. Same thing. I didn't have time for that.
Yes.
And you know what's so interesting about what you're saying? So my mom, you know, she had got divorced from my dad, but she never bashed him, right?
Right.
And to this day, they can still be in the same room and be fine. You know what I'm saying? And so with my mom, she always wanted a son. But the way that my sons are with her, I said, I'm glad you didn't have one because he would have been turned up because she's very mild-mannered.
Oh, okay.
I can count on one hand when my mom tried to whoop me. I hid under the bed, so she wasn't able to reach me. And she just would always put us on punishment.
Yeah.
It was never spanking us. It'd be like, you on punishment for a week. And then, of course, when my friends would call, they'd be like, what you do? Your mama says you're going to punish me. And I'm like, why she sitting there telling y'all that? Y'all don't need to know that. But yeah, so.
Just telling all your business.
She's telling all my business. And so, you know, when it comes to reestablishing a relationship, I believe that you can't just jump in that thing, right?
No,
because when you've missed years, when you've missed moments, there's still unforgiveness there.
Yeah.
And so I would say use wisdom. Like my cousin, her dad was in her life, but he was not positive, right? He did a lot of things to hurt our family. And so with him, we ended up writing him a letter and letting him know that we forgave him right before he transitioned. And when it comes to things like that, you have to use wisdom. And we didn't allow him back into our space. But God knew that he needed to receive that letter before he transitions.
Well, I thank you guys. We are coming close to the end. We are at the end. I think this was good. It was positive dialogue. I think that all the questions that came to my email was answered. And now we have an assignment to build a legacy now.
Okay.
Creating those legacies, being intentional about being a parent, like you said, teaching emotional intelligence and love, raising healthy future generations. That's our assignment now, you know, and like you said, use wisdom in doing so. So I really thank you all. I'm excited when it's getting released. I know it's going to bless somebody, and y'all keep on doing the work.
Thank you.
Keep on doing the work. This was perfect because this was Father's Day month, and I thought y'all don't get celebrated enough. We hear that all the time.
Yes.
We don't get celebrated enough. Well, guess what? I created this so that fathers can be celebrated, and then And you can share with fathers, and the voice can be heard about fatherhood.
Yes.
And it being unfiltered, which means we weren't holding back.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you guys, and I appreciate it. Whether you are a father that's been present or absent, listen, your story matters. Listen, this journey is not about perfection, but it is about growth, healing, and transformation. Thank you for watching us podcast in collaboration with Voss Visuals Media. Now, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and we will see you next time. Take care.